Thank you once again for joining us on the Execute Podcast, episode number 6. This is the nepotism episode. I'm having my brother Kevin Dolce, CEO of 1990, on this episode. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about friends. We're going to talk about business. You don't want to miss this episode. Stay tuned. Welcome everybody to another episode of Execute with Mr. Results. This is the nepotism edition. We got my little big brother on here, Kevin Dolce, CEO of 1990. Thank you for coming on the episode today.
Having me, bro.
Truly appreciate it. So I think this is going to be more of an intimate interview than we usually do. We're definitely going to talk about business. You're officially retired. You quit your six-figure job from Wall Street. We got to talk about that crazy story because I don't think everybody knows that story. We're going to talk about family a little bit. So real quick, let's talk about your journey and how you executed. I want you to tell everybody the funny story about when you graduated college, right? And you were in Connecticut. I want you to tell everybody how you got your first six-figure job at like 21. Was it? Tell everybody that crazy story.
So I remember when I graduated college, I actually went to college, pre-med biology, minor in business. So when I went to East Stroudsburg University, they call it the Harvard of the Poconos. I was a pre-med biology major because of my parents. It was, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to do this. I actually took my MCAT and everything while I was there. So I ended up going to Connecticut for a job. I was selling doors, windows, and siding for a company called Power Home Remodeling. I thought it was a completely different job. It was a completely different title for the job. They were telling me I was going to be a business development manager over there. And I was like, okay, this is perfect coming out of school.
Cap.
It was all cap. So my first day on the job, they was like, all right, you know, you're here for the first day. They put me in a minivan and they dropped me off in a neighborhood. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
They was like, yeah, you're going to be knocking on doors and selling windows, siding, and roofing.
You didn't know that until they dropped you off.
I didn't know that until they dropped me off. Mind you, packed up a U-Haul, put all of my belongings in there, got a new bed, couches, everything, and moved all the way to Connecticut, 6 hours away from my family driving.
That's crazy.
Terrible. I probably lasted 3 months there. I ended up applying for jobs. My cousin was in New York at the time. He was working for Google. So I applied for a job called Marcus Evans. It's an international marketing firm that does summits all around the globe. So they have 63 offices in every country that you can think of. So I started working at Marcus Evans. I went there as a junior account executive. I worked my way all the way up to GM. I was making... My checks were like $35,000, like literally like $35,000 checks. I was 21 years old, and when I tell you I was blowing my money, I was blowing my money.
It was terrible to watch.
Going crazy. I was in grad school. I was working on my MBA, so it was just a lot that was going on while I was there. I ended up coming back home because my father had a stroke. So I came back home. I started working for a company in Center City, Philadelphia. Same role. I was a director then, and I was making six figures again when I came to Philly. So I've been making six figures since I was 21 years old, and not a lot of people can say that they were making that much coming out of college. So me making that money, me understanding corporate America, the mentors that I had within corporate America, and understanding different type of wealth is crazy. I was around commissioners of the NFL. I was around CEOs, CFOs of major healthcare institutions and long-term care institutions, every single type of corporation that you can think of. Those were the people I was surrounding myself with and just connecting with and listening to how they got in the positions that they got. But that's not what I really, really wanted. I wanted more. So I remember... Oh man, I was working for a company out in Harrisburg. It was a media company. I was their VP of strategic partnerships. I started working for a tech company. They consulted me over to work for a tech company out in California. So I was like bi-coastal, going back and forth for a while. And when I first came on, I had got a deal. Now, with that deal that I got in my contract, I was getting 5% ownership in the tech company out in California. So, come to find out, my boss lied to me. He didn't even have any ownership to give in that tech company. And I felt so slighted. I was bringing in millions of dollars in seed funding on the investor relations side to help this company grow to where they are today, and now they're a conglomerate, right? So after I realized that, and I sat down and I'm like, I told my brother to start his own company. Why am I making these companies hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars,
Not seeing nothing.
and not seeing nothing? I'm getting paid less than 1% on that, like 0.01% on that. I felt like a number. I felt like I was replaceable. I could be replaced at any moment. I didn't feel the value. I was stressing. I was driving hour and a half to Harrisburg, hour and a half back home. I was avoiding traffic. Even though I didn't have to go in the office every day, it was still, my time is valuable. And I understand that so much now as an entrepreneur, that I hate my time being wasted. I hate it so much. Don't call me with no BS. Don't waste my time. As my brother says, I don't speak or meet with anybody for free because my time is very valuable. So that was just my journey before quitting my job. It took me 7 years. It didn't happen overnight. Everybody thinks that success stories happen overnight. My company's about to be, I retired 2 years ago in March. So my company's about to be, so my company is about to be 2 years old. I've grossed almost $1 million. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of my company. I'm very proud of how far we come. I've said this since I was younger, and I tell my brother this all the time. I don't care about $1 million. $1 million isn't anything. I want to be a billionaire with a B. That's it.
So that's a great intro. So one thing I want to take away from that is you talked about mentorship, right? And that's a running theme that we've been getting a lot with the guests that we came on. There was a mentorship that said something, gave some gems. So what was one of the best mentors you had, and a gem that you give to our listeners right now that they gave you?
One of the best mentors I had, besides my brother, because I don't want this to be super intimate and nepotism, as he says,
Right.
but one of the best mentors I had was Amy Ramsey. Amy Ramsey changed my life. She was pretty high up over at Marcus Evans when I worked there. She taught me, this is so funny, it's just the little things that she taught me. When you go to somebody's house, never go empty-handed. And I already knew that from my parents.
But you were young when you met her.
I was young when I met her, so it's like, bring a bag of ice, ask them do they need any cups, bring a bottle of champagne. This is what escargot is. Like, I learned so much just from being around her. Tape trainings with Napoleon Hill, having me read different books. It was crazy about how much she taught me. Tony Robbins, 10xing your business, and just growth and strategy. I remember one day I was in the office, and I believe I closed my first deal in the office, and it was like a major, major thing. When you close your first deal, back on Wall Street, they used to cut your ties. But in here, they had a dong. So every time somebody closed their deal, they got up, we rang the dong in the office, and it was like a really big deal. And she was like, this is your first of many. And just remember, with this being your first of many, things change, people change, and your life change. So when I look at that now moving forward, the more money I made, the smaller my circle became. The more money I made, the more I thought about more things that I wanted out of life. So like Jay-Z says, it's this line he says, particularly about the money didn't, people say that you changed because of the money you had, but no, I changed because I continued to grow. The money didn't change me.
Yeah, I changed. Yeah, because I'm a different person now.
I'm a different person now, and you stayed the same. So I can't surround myself with the same people who aren't growing with me. I surround myself with people who are already surpassed me, where I'm getting knowledge from, who are growing with me moving forward.
I love it. I love it. So I want to talk about Shout out to Amy. Amy's an amazing person. When we first met, so that's what Wall Street did for you. What did you take from your from making people? Literally, we're not going to say the company's name, but the company's $1 billion company right now, and you have parts in making that happen. What did you take from making people billionaires to putting into your business right now?
It's so crazy that you said that. So check this. If you guys aren't familiar with my company, 1990 Business Consulting, what we do is we aid entrepreneurs to start up their business, and we aid them to become six-figure businesses. So whether we're helping you get an LLC or registering your business entity, we also help write business plans that give you the structure, whether it's within your operations, your marketing solutions, and forecasting your business to make sure that your company is sound. Mm-hmm. If you don't have good foundation, you're not going to be successful. I'm not saying that every company needs a business plan, but I'm saying that it's smart to have one. Mm-hmm. So what I learned from helping that company become the huge conglomerate that they are today is that if I can make this company $100 million or $1 billion, I can make anybody company grow and be sustainable strategically to be a successful company. Excellent, so I wanted to give back to minorities, give back to entrepreneurs who don't have that education, who don't know where to start first, and make sure that they have all the tools, all the fundamentals that they need to become successful.
Excellent. I love it. Now, we grew up in the same household, right? So I remember this conversation sitting down with my dad. My dad, this was a cool story to say before. It's not cool anymore. My dad worked for Donald Trump. My dad actually used to work for Fred Trump, his father, so he knew his Donald Trump's father. Our dad was a property manager in New York. So I remember when I told him, hey, I want to start a business. I never told you the story. I was like in 6th, 7th grade. He's like, what? He was like, no, you like got to go to school, doctor, lawyer. We're first generation Haitian, so that's all they know. Your parents can only deposit in you what they know, right? So that's why it's very important for me, and what I'm going to deposit in my children. I learn a lot because they'll only know what I know primarily, right?
Right.
So he's like, no, like, and he was like, your father isn't rich, so you can't start anything, right? Because even he knew Donald Trump got his bread from his dad, and his dad put him on. He's like, you don't have a dad that's gonna put you on, or whatever. And I was like, and then it stopped the dream, right? And then so I went to college, got an education. And then I'm not going to bore everybody with that story, but I finally became an entrepreneur because I ran into the right people. Mm-hmm. So now I have something to deposit into our kids. So now that's my story with Dad, right? Mm-hmm. And he's our first mentor. What are some things that he deposited in you, good or bad though, that has put you on that you've taken now, and that's important now?
Look, that's French for I'm a bad shed over all the walls of the house. But that's not that I grew up in an abusive household. That's because I was a tyrant.
Right.
I didn't want to listen to anything. I was the last child, and I'm the youngest sibling out of 3. So of course Herman's the oldest, than my sister, than myself. So I was just running amok. I was a rebel. I got away with murder, as my siblings would say, because I was the last.
And the parents are tired. By the time they got to you.
Yeah, by the time they got to me, they already beat Herman to death.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now Herman's the poster golden child.
Alleged.
Herman is the golden child. Uh-huh. But my dad, his work ethic, no matter what.
Facts.
If my dad was an A-type personality, he was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Sunday to Sunday.
Every day. He would come home on Fridays because he used to work in New York. He would travel to come back to Philadelphia. When he got home, my mom would have food for him on the table. You know, typical Haitian household, take care of her men, their husbands. My dad would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He would start raking the leaves outside, mowing the lawn. He would always find something to do. Always. And what he did to me was he used to wake me up. He was like, you want McDonald's? Yeah, I definitely want McDonald's. Next thing you know, I'm at Home Depot. Next thing you know, I'm at Lowe's. Next thing you know, I'm getting gravel. Next thing you know, I'm learning how to change a tire. Next thing you know, I'm on the lawn outside from like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. And now I'm not done doing all these chores till like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So just having that work ethic. When my dad got sick, when he had his stroke, we started to see the house fall apart.
Yeah.
Did you remember that?
Yeah.
Everything started falling apart, like plumbing, roofing.
Because he used to maintain it.
The toilet, would stop running properly. It was just little things that started falling apart. And we're like, what is going on? But then I started to realize that the little things that he did over a period of time was keeping the foundation sound. You know what I mean? So it's the little steps. It's the steps that you take to build that foundation to make sure that your house is structured in the way that you want it to be structured. And you can use that in the same business terminology. The way that you build your business from the ground up, the little steps that you take daily to make sure that you can scale your business and grow your business, and the services that you implement in your business can help you get to $100,000, can help you make $1 million, to help you make 10 million, 100 million, or $1 billion. Whatever you desire to do, those little steps will help you get there.
I want to reiterate that and hit it on the head. One of the most important things our father taught us was consistency and hard work. Now, if hard work would make people a millionaire, everybody would be a millionaire. But the consistency, right? That helped me in my business. I wake up 5:45, 6 o'clock every single day, just like he did, right? Now, what I give my time to makes me free, but I work out every day, right? And then I put the time into the business, right? I put the time into the investments, partnerships, relationships, going out, shaking hands, kissing babies, and Bella Stone and Olivia Monroe has grown something ridiculous. But those seeds from seeing that man do that consistently all the time, I was like, well, he can do it, then I can do it. But I just channeled that energy into something different. So I want to talk about something a little bit more intimate, right? We talked about this behind the scenes real quick. So you missed this family trip, right?
Yeah.
It's all right. So we had a family trip. I think it was like 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was 5 years this year.
5 years this year. My man's is getting married. Shout out to Judith and Bird. They was getting married, 10-year anniversary. They got married young, by the way. Like, I'm like 35.
Are they 10 years in?
Yeah, no, now they're 15. Now they're 15, but I'm in my mid-30s and you've been married 10 years. That's crazy.
I know, yeah.
So he was bugging. But anyway, so he's like, yo, let's go to Mexico. So we go to Mexico, and then he's like, yo, let's make it a family trip. So we got my mom, my dad, my sister, my nephew, my mom's sister, so my aunt, Ashley, Kensley, our cousins. Like we was like, yo, we're just gonna make this a family trip. We've never done a family trip before. If you know anything about Haitians, they work. Vacations is like weekends when they go to church or something. There's no vacation. So we literally had to help our dad pack his suitcase. Literally, you remember that?
I remember it's crazy that you said that because I remember we were in the basement.
And all of us.
And this is when I heard that my dad was going to have a stroke, right? So I remember it so vividly.
I remember that.
We were in the basement. He was packing. He was actually trying on his swim trunks and his shirt. He had on a turquoise shirt and he had on like these turquoise swim trunks. So he was like, oh my God, he's really like matching it, like full body matching it.
Right.
So he was like, yeah, I was at the doctor's because I kept getting like these shocks in my leg. And, I've been driving and it feels like my legs just like go out. Mind you, everybody else is talking.
Everybody's talking. Everybody's packing something different for him. And everybody stopped and was like, what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
1 week later.
1 week later.
Yeah.
So we go to Mexico. He has an amazing time. My family has an amazing time. This is the first time my family has ever left the country for vacation. Literally, no Disney World, no nothing. And my dad has the time of his life. They're so disconnected from vacation. My dad didn't understand the concept of all-inclusive. I'm talking about we drinking, we eating. They got hotel credits to go swimming with the dolphins. So my dad swimming with dolphins, having the time of his life. My dad would have never thought he would swim with a dolphin. He's like, this is crazy. And I remember the last day he was there, I never told you this. He's drinking a mimosa, sitting on the beach. And then we had like a 2-second moment. We're not really touchy-feely, lovey-dovey type of family. Definitely not. But he was like, thank you. And I was like, for what? He was like, this is crazy. He was like, to sit here and to enjoy. He's like, this is crazy. I've worked 30 years. I've never had a vacation. He's like, this is crazy. So we get home. Got to wrap up the story. We get home. Literally the next day, my dad has a stroke, a debilitating stroke, paralyzed on his left side. A couple years later, he has another stroke, so he's totally paralyzed right now. He's bedridden. But I brought this story up because I think it's really important because for me, and you could tell me your thoughts on this, the seeds that he planted in us, right, whether or not he knew it or not, led us were the beginning seeds of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And now we are both able to take care of our mother and father in retirement because my dad got a Social Security check, a reward letter, right? He got a reward letter. The United States government during a pandemic cut his benefits from $1,700 a month to $1,100 a month. Right? This is what he worked 30 years for, right? Because he was supposed to get a pension, Social Security, and 401k. I think altogether the check is probably 2,000, right?
A little bit over,
Yeah, but all three of those legs, right? That's what people are supposed to live off of. So when I stress financial literacy, when I stress you can't afford not to fix your credit, you can't afford not to invest in yourself. Because everybody has an excuse for everything. Because everybody's 20,
Right.
they're 30, 40, they're living well, but you're going to meet the 60-year-old person. You're going to meet the 70-year-old person who's going to take care of you. So I think we're blessed that we're able to financially take care of our parents. They don't have to worry about anything, right? All their bills are paid. They're definitely taken care of. So that's why I think as my mentor, that was the most important thing that he gave me to help him out. Now seeing your dad the way you see him now, what are your thoughts in the information that he gave you and who you're becoming right now? Don't cry, bro. This is on TV,
No,
bro.
I'm not
Like,
gonna
you
cry because it's
wildin'.
on TV because I
I'm
do think
emotional, bro.
I think about my dad constantly every single day.
Right,
I
right.
think about him every day. I think about his disability. I think about him possibly not being able to see my kids born one day. I look at my nieces and nephews and see the time that they spend with him. Now, like my dad is bedridden. And my nieces are climbing all over him. Like, I want to go see Pop. And I remember my dad used to take my nephew in the morning when he was in the crib, Malachi,
Yeah.
and that they were best
Friends.
friends.
Yeah.
Literally
Oh, yeah.
best friends. Nope,
Right,
going
right.
outside with Papa.
Pop,
My dad
Pop.
buying him a bike. Like, literally
yeah,
all the
yeah,
things.
yeah.
My dad used to call me Bobby. I don't know where he got this name from. It does not match Kevin Dolce at all, but my nickname was Bobby. My dad revoked me of the nickname and gave it to my nephew.
Yeah,
And my brother Fitz was telling me about this story the other day. Like, yeah, he didn't even call you Bobby anymore. That was Malachi.
Shocked.
So
Right.
just growing up around that, and my dad put a lot into me to make me into the man that I am today in terms of consistency, like you said. I'm consistent in everything that I do. And when I feel like I'm inconsistent, I begin to get anxiety and insomnia because it was put into me so young that you have to work for everything you want and you need to be consistent and determined for everything you want.
Got you. I love it. So I always ask this final question before we wrap up a show or a podcast. So how old are you now?
I'm 30.
30. You're a baby. You're a child. So you're 30 years old. You've actually accomplished a lot in 30 years, right? And I always tell people this real quick. I don't think success goes like this on an incline. I think success is exponential. It goes like this because if I know 10 things, that means I'm not going to turn it into 20. I could turn 10 things into 50. I could turn 50 into 1,000. So it goes up very quickly. So because that's how money compounds. Your knowledge in yourself, you can compound your success also. I forgot where I was going with my thought, but you're going to meet. You're 30 years old. You're going to do a lot in the next 30 years, right? You're going to meet the 80-year-old Kevin, right? You're going to meet that man one day. What is that man going to say to you?
Thank you.
Okay.
He's going to say thank you for the time that you put in when you were younger. Thank you for being consistent. Thank you for staying determined because you wouldn't be sitting here off the coast of Monaco, off the coast of Italy.
Right.
Sitting on your 100-foot yacht.
You dig?
Owning the NBA team.
Right.
You wouldn't be there. So it's a thank you. Keep being consistent. Keep working.
Whenever I ask people this question, everybody says something big at the end. So it's an NBA team on a 100-foot yacht on the coast of Monaco. Period. That's going to happen or it's going to happen. I love to hear it. So listen, real quick, I want to ask you one more question. So a lot of mentors in your life, you talked about Amy, you talked about your father, the lessons you learned at Marcus Evans. Somebody on this podcast, this TV show, is listening to something right now. You want to give them something real quick? Real quick. Anything.
Stop being lazy. Stop being lazy. I know there's people who I've gotten a ton of people, and I want to touch on this really quick, and I won't be
yeah.
too long. I've got a ton of people after me and my brother gave this donation to somebody in Philadelphia.
Shout out to Sword.
I didn't want to say any names.
Shout out to
Saw. Shout out to Country Cooking.
Yeah.
Y'all see it.
We
gave a $25,000 donation to her new restaurant. When I mean I was bombarded with people looking for donations just for handouts, that's not how it works. Okay? Saw put in a lot of work for her business. What she was doing, she was cap raising for her business. She was finding seed funding for her business so that she can grow her business. I know that certain people don't have the means to get where they want, but I'm telling you, YouTube University is free. There are 24 hours in a day. I read somewhere that CEOs only sleep 4 to 5 hours a day. Okay? Put in the work, no matter what it is, and you'll be successful.
That's a great gem. That's a great gem. So people want to reach out to you. They need an LLC. They need a business plan. Give them your information.
So you guys can reach me on Instagram on my personal page at kevinj.dolce, D-O-L-C-E, or at 19, N-I-N-E-T-E-E-N, 90_business consulting. I know that was really long, but you guys can find me. The best number to reach me at is 215-902-6055. Welcome.
Okay, you Chuck. So you gave the internet your phone number, and this podcast is gonna live forever. So
it is gonna live forever, and that's fine.
It's a wrap. I appreciate you, Kevin Dolce, CEO of 1990. We appreciate you. It's been another episode of Execute. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll talk to you soon.